Hello everyone, this is Joanna. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. And for those of you who are new, welcome, and I hope you stay here and I hope you like what you hear. These are going to be your messages for the month of October. I have made a point on most of the videos to be very vocal about what my intention is with these messages. And I was actually asked by my spiritual team to let you know what that intention is and the purpose for why I do this. And the main reason why I do this for you, why I give you messages, is to give you tools and understandings so that you can apply it in your life in a way that allows you to feel freer, to feel much more empowered, to feel less stuck, to feel much happier. So that is what my intention is with every single message that I receive from Spirit. So whether you are a Taurus or whether you are Virgo, whether you are Scorpio or some other sign, whatever comes through these messages for you, they're meant to make you think, they're meant to make you stop and pause, and they're meant to make you reevaluate perhaps some things in your life. That also means that the focus isn't as much on predictions, and the basic idea for it, or the main reason for it, is the predictive component of your future is very much tied to you and who you are as a person and what your beliefs are. So for me to say this is going to happen is very much dependent on where you're at. And I think most of you get that. But my greatest joy and my greatest wish for you is always to hear that my messages help you, because they help you stop and think, and as a result of that you reevaluate some things, you shuffle some things in your mind, and you begin to have a brand new perspective which changes your perception of everything. So that is my intention for you, and it's important that I say this to you so that when you listen to this, you may say, that's not for me, I want to know what's going to happen. Or you may say, this is exactly for me because I want to know what's preventing me from certain things in my life. These messages, as you notice, are coming early for you. I will try to make it a habit of making them early. It is not the easiest task with my full plate, but I will do the best I can. I am also going to be offering live sessions on YouTube, so stay tuned. And I will do my best to do one in October. So stay tuned. This will be, I will let you know. And as always, thank you so much for liking, for sharing, for subscribing. Without you, I always say, I wouldn't do this. And it brings me great joy and great happiness to see your comments on how my messages help you. And I think that's all I have. I hope you enjoy these. Of course, if it doesn't make sense to you at the beginning of when you hear it, listen to it towards the end of the month. You guys tell me that more often than not, it applies to you way more. So without further ado, let's get moving. Hello, beautiful Cancerians. These are going to be your messages for the month of October 2018. I almost said 2016. For some of you, 2016 was a very pivotal year, whatever that means to you. So that's just jumping up right now. Actually, for those of you who means to the 2016 means anything, it's when you were undergoing, maybe somebody passed away. That could be, because that's being shown. That's one of the things. So there was a major transition in your life, or you have transitioned. You went through an awakening, so to speak, or you went through a death and rebirth process. So that's what's being shown to me. So let me just tune into, and isn't that interesting? For those of you who've lost someone in 2016, whoever this person is, they're saying hi. This is really interesting because it doesn't happen very often like this. In personal sessions, yes, but not here. So if you have someone who is on the other side, whether you believe it or not, that they're on the other side, and they passed in 2016, they're saying hi to you. And for most, this is a family relation or a very close friend. Okay, I'm going to move on. Okay, the message is have more faith in yourself. Okay, somebody's trying to tell you something. So this is the energy. If you see me, if you hear me, this is your energy that I'm feeling. It's kind of all over the place, but in a fun way. So let me tune in to your energy for month of October or thereabouts and see what I feel as an overall feeling. It's interesting because I get a sense of ease, a sense of letting go of some preoccupation that you have had. So sense of ease. It's to do with commitment to yourself, finally committing to yourself as a responsibility, that being a responsibility number one for you. So you take care of yourself first. And what I also see is just relaxation that's followed by some sort of a fun activity. So whether, now why would I be seeing this? Are you going to do some fun activities in the month of October? I hope so. But this is more telling me the energy you will be at for at least some of the time, if hopefully not for most of the time. So you may not be very focused. You may kind of feel all over the place, but not in a bad way, not in an uncomfortable way, just in a way that makes you kind of feel like blah, 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 blah. Notice it's just kind of whatever. And that's a good thing because it's an easy feeling. It's not structured. It's just like whatever, everything is fine. And again, that's because what you are preoccupied with something, and then that need somehow either went away or you chose to not do it. So whatever that means to you, let's see if that makes sense to you. So fun energy. Okay. Apparently some of you are thinking of playing baseball. All right, and I just heard practice makes perfect. So if this is something that you have been contemplating, I feel like somebody's trying to say to you, hey, go ahead and do it. You're not too old, for those of you who are maybe a little bit, further in to their life journey. So that's a very specific message to someone. And generally just fun. I feel month of October, if it has not been the case for you, or when life has not been fun at all, it is a message that you need to spend some time to creating more fun in your life on a regular basis. Why? Well, number one, it makes us feel good. And then I hear, I don't have time. And I want to, and then I hear, I'm sorry, that doesn't apply. So if you have excuses that you can't have fun in your life because you don't have time, you got to find a more creative way of looking at it. And interesting, because I have some creative stuff happening for you in the cards. So interesting energy in the month of October. It feels good. It feels fun. It feels just kind of all over the place, but not really focused or not really driven. And that's okay. Because I feel like some of you need a break. Like you need a break from some sort of a commitment, or you overcommitting, or you being overcommitted to something or somebody else. Whatever it is, it's now in the past. Many of you left this in September. Some of you will be leaving this in a month of October this year. So I have no idea what I'm talking about. That is for you to figure out. So the first card I have is creative communication. One of the things I'm being asked to say, I said this to the other sign, that my intention for you was for you to receive information that will help you better understand yourself in a way that makes life different and better. So whatever information Spirit feels is most appropriate in order to fulfill that role, I hope that's what you get from this. So there may not be too many specifics necessarily, but if you can take the idea that's being presented and apply it in your life and see where it fits, I'm being shown you will benefit from remarkable results. So you have creative communication. For some of you, you are natural channelers. This is literally what this card means. And then I go off to what I hear. So this message signifies you are a channel. You're a spirit channel. You're a channeler. Yes, you are a creative writer. You are a creative singer. You are creative when it comes to the art of communication. absolutely. But the first message is some of you need to learn how to channel, need to channel more often so you get better, or you just need to practice your skill and you will know who you are the moment I talk about it. For others of you, it is about coming up with more creative ideas with respect to communication. So some of you are not very good communicators, and either you don't say very much, you don't know what to say, you are afraid to say, you're not sure if you should say. That will block your communication and it will create a bit of a chaos, particularly in relationships. So for those of you who are in committed relationships, and you could be in job and that's a committed relationship, notice what your communication style is. If you often get frustrated with people or people with you, ask yourself if there is something about you needing to learn to communicate better in order to avoid that from happening. This is not a self-blame exercise. This is an exercise to help you look at some things inside of you, and that was my intention for you. So if you've never spoke before, it's important for you to speak up. For some of you, you need to raise your voice. Why do they need to raise their voice? Some of you talk really, really softly, and it's very, very softly, and it's okay, just own your voice. And it's almost like when, not yell, but raise, like be confident with your voice. So this could be for some of you who are speakers, who are into public speaking, or just because sometimes in order to be taken seriously, you have to speak in a certain way. You have to own what you're saying and you have to mean it. And so if you're like a little mouse, chances are you're not going to get the results you want and you'll get frustrated. So look at your communication style and notice if there is anything in that area that needs tweaking. Speaking up for yourself is important. Obviously, everybody knows that, but I feel like there's more. Blaming another for your mistakes, okay, it doesn't work very well. So if you okay, thank you. If your style of communication is to blame others for your misfortunes, you may want to take a look at that too, because you'll notice it doesn't serve you. I have interesting energies with me today, so I hope you find it as interesting as I do. It's important to laugh because it raises our vibration. So that is the message of communication. And maybe that's why I kept feeling all over the place in October, because you're going to be looking at some things and it's just, well, right? The way it's coming across is actually interesting. For some of you, you need to take your communication style seriously. In other words, there's an aspect of you that is wanting to express itself in some creative way, whether being a writer, a singer, it could a painter, draw, a piano player or instrument, whatever you can do in order to exercise your creativity is very important, because it will fundamentally ground you in who you are. It's part of your soul. It's your soul's purpose, so to speak. So it's important that you acknowledge that, for particularly for those of you who are channelers, who are connected to spirit, and you get communication. For some of you, it's energy workers. You refusing to believe you have it when you know damn well you do. It doesn't do anything. You are constantly rejecting and creative outlet. So you got to ask yourself the question, why? And sometimes we do that because in the past we would have felt punished or been punished, and we chose to keep that a secret. And you actually do have a card called secret. So for some of you, you need to speak up about the things that you have held in a closet because you were afraid to come off as crazy, an idiot, whatever. It doesn't just have to be in spiritual work, in any work. So very important for you to own your individuality. And maybe this is also what I was seeing, that in the month of October, you're starting to take care of yourself. You're starting to put yourself first, and you're letting go of the BS that you were clinging to, and you're becoming a new person. And That is important. Now you have the card, a message of yang. So this is the masculine energy. This is the doing. And the next card to it you have is time to go. So many of you are, this card here, time to go. She's wearing a dress, I'm assuming it's she's leaving something, but there's a door. You can't really see it, but right here in the back, in the foreground, there's a door. So she's moving on into something new. So many of you, there are new opportunities that are being created right now in the background. In other words, if you have been vying for a certain position, for a certain mate, for a certain status, for a certain whatever that's really important to you, and in the past you were conditioned, you couldn't have it. Very interesting. It feels like you are moving on to a brand new circumstance, brand new relationship, brand new job, brand new way of seeing the world. Because time to go is all about lessons. In other words, many of you have just completed or about to complete a very important cycle in your life, one that could be called a lesson, something you've struggled with for most of your life, and it's time to move on. This message again about the Yang card, YA and G, it's about movement, it's about action. So you might feel, I want to say this, expect to feel slightly stagnant at times, but when that happens, it's important for you to remember that you're just at the beginning of your journey. So things need time to finalize themselves so they can show themselves to you. In other words, if there is something you are wanting to create and you just came out of something uncomfortable, you may not see the results of what your hard work has been put into, but eventually you will. So what I want to say here is just stay on track. Don't lose your focus. Be committed to you. Be committed to the greater cause. Be committed to your cause, whatever your cause is. And that can be interpreted in a gazillion different ways, including creative channeling or channeling information. And then you have the Lovers. So to me, it really symbolizes a brand new way of being with yourself, first and foremost, much more in harmony. As a matter of fact, when I wrote the word Cancer, I wrote number 6, and after this 6 came up. So huge confirmation for me. So definitely moving on to a greater balance inside of you. This is also about being on the same page with somebody else. That's very important. Being on the same page with somebody. I think that's basically what I said. Overall, this is also a message of harmony within a relationship or within a union. More importantly than anything, it is about the unification of yourself. In other words, letting go of some things that you have been fighting with and just accepting things and moving on brings you more peace and harmony inside. And when that happens, it's time to move on to the next lesson, because it means you got the memo. It's time to move on. And anything that improves communication with ourselves. This is another one of those messages. It is important to learn how to communicate with yourself creatively. I'm being asked to explain what that means. Well, in order to know yourself fully, you first have to understand yourself. And how do you understand yourself? You understand yourself by looking at the actions you do and try to understand why, looking at what you like, what you don't like, listening to your intuition, looking at your emotions, looking at your fears, looking at your desires. In other words, it takes time to get to know yourself, but it's important that you do. For the more you know yourself, the more you will know others too. That is very interesting. The more you know yourself, the more you will know others too. Oh, okay. Wow, that's interesting. The more you know yourself, the more you have compassion for other people. That is interesting. I'm going to have to think about that. I'm going to have to meditate on that. So it's important to see yourself through compassionate eyes. Oftentimes we blame ourselves. And if that's the case, we may blame others we talked about already. Point is, there's a very effective way of communicating with ourselves, and that is always through stillness. And stillness comes from having a poised mind, for having a calm mind, from having a clear mind. And that happens when we work at it. So just like with anything, the more you work at it, the better it gets. And then I'm looking at a Page of Swords. So to me, this symbolizes a brand new energy of thought, brand new awareness, excitement, brand new awareness, which brings with it brand new beginnings. And I always say, the moment you look at yourself differently, the moment your focus shifts, it's the moment you start seeing things you didn't see before, and they are good. So it shifts your perception. And then I'm seeing the number 8 and then infinity. I gave this exact message to some other signs. So notice if any of your other signs have the same message, because if that's the case, it's an important symbol or emblem. Emblem, what's an emblem? Symbol. And you will resonate. Aside of that, it is the sign of strength and courage. And I feel many of you are feeling courageous, which means you have gone through some things that were probably very difficult. You have proven some things to you, and now you feel good about you. And you know what? If that's the case, celebrate it. And that's all I have. I hope this was helpful. Like I said, my intention was to give you something that will ultimately help you shift your perspective. So see where this applies in your life. It can virtually apply to anything. And just notice if somehow that can be helpful to you. Above all, if it does make sense to you, please comment below. I would love to read it. Thank you so much for listening, for liking, and for sharing. This is my passion, and that's why I do what I do. And of course, for private session, that information is down below. Thank you again so much, and see you soon. Bye.